I'm going to explain this so perfectly, they'll be.
Okay.
All right, I see that you're now live streaming, right?
That is the plan. It's still setting it up.
Okay. The interesting thing is I got a notice on the screen of my phone. I've got both my laptop on Zoom and I have my phone on Zoom. The reason being, I'm going to be flipping from a lot of shared items, and I wanted to be able to look at it from the audience perspective. And so my phone, it popped up and said, just now, it just popped up, said something about live streaming, and I had to click OK, but it did not on my laptop.
Yeah. So, by the way, Bill, I've made you co-host, and what I'm going to do, and I'm doing that by clicking on the three dots on the, when I hover over your picture, it shows three dots next to the mute button. And then if I click on it, it shows a drop-down menu. So I'm making you host, but I need to see if I am, and what I need you to do then is hover over my picture and click on those three buttons on the side, the three dots on the side of my picture.
Yep.
And then make me co-host.
Okay. Right now, did it. Okay.
Okay,
are we ready
good.
to go?
Yep.
Okay.
We are ready.
It's 3 o'clock. Welcome to everybody on Zoom as well as on YouTube Live. I bribed all of you with 1 month free of my online Amel book so that you could show up for 30 minutes to an hour and listen to me talk. So I appreciate you coming. I'm going to discuss these things during the meeting. The Amel book, which actually I started writing about 18 years ago. And it seems like I add or change 2 or 3 things at least every week as, the boats get older. And as they get older, things that have never happened before happen. And or maybe we come up with a better solution to something we've been doing for a long time. So we're going to discuss the online Amel book, which is new for me. It's got some pretty cool advantages. Of course, the disadvantage is you have to have internet access. We're going to talk about pre-purchase consulting, the training courses I do, the 24/7 support that I do. I've got over 200 clients now that I support, and put some change in your pocket preferred vendors, which is a pretty cool thing. So first, the Amel book. It is 400 pages. They're color printed, some nice photographs. You're looking at the cover in this photo of the June printing of the Amel book, which has been printed. I printed, I first had it assembled in a bound book, and that was nuts. I should have never done that. So now they're individual pages printed on 100-pound paper in a 3-ring binder with custom tabs. And this way, if I update a page, you can go to my website and download it and insert it in the book. Or if I create a new page, same thing, you can download it and insert it in the book. Currently, the majority of the book covers Super Maramoos. Well, there's a lot of reasons why. The number one reason why is that's the number one boat that Amel produced more than any other model. There's a lot of 54 in the book because 54 is very similar to the Super Maramoo. There's a significant amount of Amel 55. There's a growing amount of Amel 50. Some of you know I'm going to be on an Amel 50 in about a week. I'm going to spend a week on an Amel 50 with a brand new one with the owner. So I suspect there's going to be more and more on the Amel 50. And of course, some of the systems on the Super Maramoo are shared with Santorin, Mango, Maramoo, and others. So I have people that own a Maramoo that are satisfied with the Amel Book. Again, the majority of it is currently Super Maramoo and Amel 54. The book looks like this. This is 2 pages out of the book where go into some in-depth explanation of the Amel Genoa and sail bending, but then it also includes some other things like where my mouse is hovering right now. This is a stainless steel shackle on a aluminum drum, and look what happened. Do not mix stainless steel and aluminum, or you'll regret it. And then over here on the left, it even includes some things about people that are sailing catches for the first time wonder why they don't get a good set of sail on their mizzen when they're sailing close to the wind. That explains it. And one of the best marinas in the world I'm pushing, which is in Martinique on that page. So these 2 pages in the book are how to install standing rigging on a Super Maramoo 54, and of course it includes a Santorin. And I believe you could use the same thing with a Maramoo and Mango, but it's step by step. And this was really kind of hard to put together. There was a number of people who participated. Thank goodness Olivier Botte participated, and 2 or 3 Amel owners who have installed standing rigging themselves. So we think it is complete. Also in the book, you have things like this. This is a mainsail foil on a Super Maramoo that's fractured. And we have some of the things to look for, like the paint cracking on this bolt. I discovered that Amel has a kit to repair this. And then there's another way to repair it. You can actually chop the bottom of the foil off up to 2 or 3 times. And there's plenty of foil at the top to just chop the bottom off. So several ways. Mast climbing, this is probably about the most dangerous thing that you can do on your boat. And I really resisted writing this for a number of years because, I didn't want somebody to read it and think they got it and fall and sue me. But it's too important to not publish it. So I did publish it in the book. And then, the kind of thing that both Americans and Europeans run into. Okay, what is this crazy plug that you have in America? Or what's this crazy plug you have in Europe? And how to wire it and what the wiring code colors are and so forth and so on. It's pretty straightforward and solved. It's an example. This wiring page is one of 400 pages. Well, this wiring page actually applies to every ML, right? Whether it's a Maramoo, a Maramoo, a Mango, a Santorin, Super Maramoo. It applies to all of them. It's things people run into. But 400 pages is only 400 pages. And the reality is I've got 20,000 pages of stuff. And at one time or another, I used each of the files that makes up these 20,000 pages. And that I call book supplements. The book supplements reside in the cloud. They are accessible through my website. They are indexed in logical categories and pretty easy to get. So my clients are enjoying book supplements, which could be, I think I have every ONAN service manual for every ONAN that's been in an Amel since probably 1985 or maybe even earlier. So I've got those. I have things like this in supplements. It's a ONAN fuel filter replacement. The reality is Amel and many people believe that you ought to be able to look at your ONAN manual that came with your ONAN generator and do this. But, you know, it's better to hear how to do it, I think, from somebody that's done it rather than from somebody that is a technical writer for ONAN and probably never has done it. So it's step by step how to do it. Then other things, how to solve problems. The Super Miramu is probably the most notorious for having bulges in the engine room hatch. You know, these start out with like a little bump, two of them, one on each side. What caused it is the struts, the gas struts that Amel added to the hatch needed to be screwed into the hatch. So what Amel did is they actually included some mild steel inside the fiberglass, and regrettably, you know, you can see right here, it just rusted, expanded, caused this bulge. And this is two ways to approach it. And then I tell you on one side that that's the one I prefer. And this is something about my book. It's not all me. I have contributors. Steve Bell contributed to the one on the left and Giovanni Testa to the one on the right. So I've got, I want to say 20 or 30 Amel owners that I trust, that we get our heads together, and sometimes they come up with it. So the Amel book is not just me, it's a collection of some pretty smart people as well. Then we have the online Amel book, which is relatively new, just getting off the ground. It's also 400 pages. It's the same as the Amel book, except because it's online, I'm able to embed links to over 2,500 supplemental files. These are some files that I showed you earlier, like the ONAN shop manual and those kinds of things. The online book is included if you have 2 years or more of my support, but you can subscribe to it online. The subscription for 1 year is $150 a year, and if you get 3 years, it's down to $100 a year, or a total of $300. Now, everybody that RSVP'd for this meeting is going to be getting an email from me no later than tomorrow, probably today, with how to log on for your 30 days free use of the online book. And I hope it works out for you. Maybe you have some projects that you've saved and you want some additional reference material. But let me try right now to do something. We're going to layer internet on top of internet on top of internet, and let's see if it works. I am going to share my screen with you as we just a second. There's my email if somebody wants to read my email. All right. And I'm going to go to my website, and there it is right there. And I'm going to log on to the online book. I do that on my website right here with client access. See that? So I'm going to click on client access. You don't need to write this down because it'll be in the email to you. I'm going to enter the password. Yeah. I'm going to say, everybody has this. This is lawyer talk. Okay, I agree to above. Then there's actually another password. This is like crazy stuff. And I'll be sending that password to you. And then your email. I'm going to enter my email. And click, and I'm in. So I'm sorry about all the steps, but if you were online, this is what you'd see, the Amel book. You can flip the pages by flipping pages like that. Pretty cool. I got a contents, and I put the index up front rather than at the end. So there's 2 pages of index, and then it's divided into 5 parts. The first part is deck and hull. And we were just looking at these 2 pages on deck and hull. This is Super Maramoo Genoa. Now, I'm going to try something here, and I hope that it works for you. But you see these links right up here? This is the Amel Super Maramoo ballooner, right? Click on the link, and guess what?
We put together the short video to show you how we douse one of our favorite sails on the boat.
So I don't know if you can hear the audio.
The simplicity of Amel system is shown with these 2 cleats and the corresponding tracks on one side of the foil for the ballooner. The cleat on the right is the locking cleat attached to the tack.
Okay, I'm going to go back to where we were. So each one of the pages in the Amel book will have certain links for you to look at. Let's see. Here's one right here. Okay, main, outhaul, and furling, custom gearbox puller, right? You've probably seen some of this on, didn't work. There it goes. It was probably me. So this takes you to a multi-page document that tells you how to go to a machine shop and make a puller that pulls the shaft out of the gearbox every single time. Actually, this puller I found at Amel in Martinique, and it works extremely well. And there's even a business card right here in the document. If you were to email that guy, he's got 2 or 3 of them made up. Okay, so this is one of those 25,000 documents, and they're all through the book. So I want to get back to here. Just a second, bear with me. All right, I want to get rid of that. Get rid of that. Okay, we're back. Oh, well, maybe we're not. I got to unshare. Okay, and now I have to share. Just bear with me a minute. Get back to the presentation. All right, I didn't screw up too bad. All right, so that's the online Amel book that we were looking at. This is another supplement. This shows you how to disconnect the triadic stay from the main mast and shows you what it looks like on the mizzen mast and explains all of it in step by step. So the book is good. The supplements are awesome. All right, moving on to the next thing I do pre-purchase and pre-purchase and pre-sale consulting. But 95% of it is pre-purchase consulting. This is where a buyer hires me to be his consultant and help him purchase a Super Maramoo, or an Amel, any Amel. And they have been, the ones that I've done have been an Amel 50, 55s, probably 10 or 12 of those. Super Maramoos, probably 80 of those, 54s, probably 40 of them. In the last 12 months, I've done a total of 50 pre-purchase or pre-sale consultings, almost all of them pre-purchase. I think about half of those are in Europe, and the other half are around the world, including New Zealand, Australia, the Caribbean, the United States. So it's worldwide. I think I'm involved in about 60% of all Amel sold worldwide that are sold in the used market. And I want to tell you why I started this, because it's a good story. I was doing only training, had my book, and I was doing training 3.5, 4 years ago. And it was heartbreaking for me to go train somebody who had just bought their Amel and was told by the broker that it was in, perfect condition. And I show up and I say, oh my goodness, you're going to have to replace this, and you got that. And I had one guy break down and cry. I gave him so much bad news. So I decided, how can I leverage technology, do this on the cheap, in other words, for a little bit of money and with a lot of accuracy. So what I did is I get my client to go through the boat and take about 250 to 400 photographs. I give my client a list of photographs, specific list, take a picture of this, so forth and so on. I send the owner a list of questions, and I think there are about 100 questions on them. Some of them are really simple questions like, has the boat ever been grounded? Has the boat ever been in a collision? I asked the owner to rate his boat as excellent condition, above average, average condition. And I actually asked them to rate each item, like winches and so forth. So with the owner's questions, with the 250 to 400 photographs, some of these, if I see a speck of rust or some grease dripping, I've been on an Amel long enough to know, hey, I know what that is. So with that, I create, right here at the bottom, good photograph, by the way, because we've got some people on this Zoom meeting that are prospective buyers. The two Onans are the same Onan. The one on the right was the actual photograph that my client took. The one on the left was the photograph that the broker used in the listing. Okay, really, really, really bad. So I create this for my clients. It is a list of things that I see that need to be corrected. This little green box up here at the top is a variable. It can be euros or dollars, and it can be 100 or 0. because sometimes people want to do all the labor themselves. Okay, so I separate the number of labor hours from the material cost. And so things change. And then I assign a priority, 1, 2, and 3. And it's kind of arbitrary. 1, do it right away. 2, you can wait a while. 3, maybe 6 months, but it's arbitrary. And at the bottom, I have a total of labor and material of 18,675. And here's the priorities. 6,000 need to spend right away, and so forth. And then because I've seen some things, I give them a list of maybe some future things that they want to consider. So all of that I do for, including the spreadsheet, which is optional. You don't have to get it, but I think you're nuts if you don't get it, is including the spreadsheet, $600. Without the spreadsheet, it's $500. So I think it's good, and I think it's crazy cheap. I can tell you, because I know how many hours it takes to do it. But I think it helps the community. Also do training. I was in Seattle last week, and I was in San Diego 2 weeks ago. I have several training courses. The one that I personally go and train, I call my premium training course. There are 200 specific items that we will cover, and they cover all of this stuff on the slide. And I train whoever is there, okay? Generally, it's the owner and the wife, but sometimes it's the owner, the wife, and 2 kids, or the owner and his brother, or whoever's there gets trained when I get there. But I've got a couple other things, because not everybody wants that. Not everybody wants to wait for me to come. I've got a fast track course, which includes, the book, and it includes 2 years of support, because if I'm not going to be there personally training you, I guarantee you're going to need to call me every day as things come up. And it includes books and manuals. It includes access to the online. And then I've got the orientation cruise, which we started this right before COVID. And I had 4 clients go through an orientation cruise, 3 of which have already bought Amels. Now, this is something that I want, if you own an Amel, I want you to think about this. Judy and I first did this when we were in Europe. We had a European couple contact us through our blog, and they wanted to come spend some time with us on our Super Maramoo because they wanted to buy a Super Maramoo. We said, fine. So we had them, we didn't charge them anything. We had them on our boat for 3 days. They wound up buying a Super Maramoo. Okay. They own a Super Maramoo today. So I encourage you, if you own an Amel, and maybe if you're considering selling the Amel, you ought to sign up to be a host for the orientation cruise. You will earn around $2,500 or euros, because the way it's priced, you will earn that. And I take some of the fee that the couple wanting the orientation to cover my cost, which is, again, very little. It's $500. So their total cost is 3,000 euro or dollars, and your share as a host is $2,500 or euros. 7 days, so that's 6 nights they'll be aboard. They pay for their own food, drink, transportation, all of that, but you have to have them on your crew list. They are crew, they're not passengers. This is important. It's kind of a legal definition. They sign a waiver of liability to you and to me, and they get a certificate of completion. Oh, I supply you with a training outline and each day what you should cover with the couple, and that's it. It's every one of them has liked it. Every one of them except one has bought an Amel, and they're still shopping to buy an Amel. So that's the orientation course. This is our Super Maramoo in the Marquesas. Some of you maybe recognize that location. You know, the thing, one of the things I offer that is really most fulfilling to me is 24/7 support. I had 2 calls this morning. People in trouble, they didn't know what to do. It was sort of each one of them was sort of a strange situation. By the time I got through, they were on the road to recovery and really not a problem. So not knowing how to operate, maintain, replace systems and components will cost hundreds to thousands every time it occurs. And regardless of where you are in the world, having your personal consultant available to support you 24/7 is at least comforting, in some cases priceless. And by the way, this isn't expensive. This is $300 a year. And I've had some people call me almost every day. And you know who you are. I think you're on this call. All right. Last about a year and a half, 2 years ago, when I had about 50 clients, I realized, 50 clients is that's a good bargaining tool. Maybe we can leverage the 50 clients to get some special pricing. So I went to people, for the most part, that I knew that I'd done business with before, and then some other people, but I'd say the majority I've actually done business with, and negotiated discounts from 5 to 20%. And some of these are really significant, like a set of sales, that now you're getting in some cash, a new engine, the repower with a new engine, that's significant. So even 10% is great. But by the way, on the engine repower, it's 20% that I negotiated. And in other things like Frigaboat systems and parts and Klima systems and parts, all kinds of stuff. Even ACMO, when you order your rigging from ACMO, if you tell them you're my client, you're going to get a 10% discount. Now, I'll admit that probably some of these discounts you could probably get anyway, okay, by just asking for a better price. I mean, I admit that. If I was able to get it, then somebody else is able to get a discount. However, one of the really nice things is every one of these people is capable of doing the wrong thing by you. And they know, every one of these people know that they're dealing with about 250 Amel owners that are my clients. So the chance of them letting you down is less. Okay, I'm not going to say it's total, but it's less. And I've had several of my clients tell me that that they put in their pockets from the discounts 2 and 3 times more than they ever paid me. So it's a good deal. One of the things that is absolutely true, 100% absolutely true, is there's nothing for me. I have been offered commissions. I've been offered, well, we'll give your client 5%, 10% and give you 5. What do you say, Bill? And I say, no, not at all. Never. That's not me. I don't do it. So anyway, that's my pitch. This is what I do 7 days a week. This keeps me involved with Amel, and I do it not because I need the money. I do it because I really love to do it. So at this point, I don't know if we've got any questions. Tilo, did you see any? I see you there, or no, I see your picture there. All right.
Yeah,
Brent.
there are no questions in the chat, Bill.
Yeah, Brent has his hand up. Brent, if you'll unmute.
Awesome. Hey, Bill.
Hey.
Good to see you. I've been on quite a few Super Maramoos and have had the opportunity to crew on a few of them, and have read your manual a few times. It's an awesome piece of work, by the way. It's really, really good. Well worth the money. And I certainly will take advantage of it when it's my time. I do have a couple questions for you. One
Sure.
is the orientation cruise that you do you come along on that, or is that done, the support that you provide is done remotely?
Yeah, on the orientation crew, I'm there in spirit.
Okay.
What I do provide to the people on the orientation cruise is I provide a number of things like the Amel manual of the boat that you're going to be on, access to my book, the online book, and copies of the learning outline that I give to the owner host. Now, I also, of course, give the copies of the outline to the owner host. So I'm there in spirit. I would actually like to be on an orientation cruise, but I'm like so busy lately that I don't see that I can do that.
Awesome. So the other question I had was around the pre-purchase consulting that you do. You obviously get to see a lot of different Amels, and I know personally that you're involved in many of those purchases. What happens when you get multiple buyers looking at the same boat? And then the second part to that question is, let me come back to it. I'll come back to the second part.
Okay. Well, the first part of your question is, it's actually extremely tough because I don't really have control over what my client may be looking at, right? I mean, I'm not a broker. I don't want to be a broker, and I don't fall into that category. So it has happened a couple of times where one of my clients is looking at, Super Maramoo A, and I'm in the middle of working on it with them. And another client hires me and he wants to look at Super Maramoo A. Okay, I'll tell the second client that I'm currently working with a client on that boat. And I'll go back and tell the first client that I have another client that wants to work on that boat. I just try and be as transparent as possible and try not to interfere with either them or the buyer. But it is difficult because I don't have any control over what they're going to do.
Yeah.
So
okay,
the only thing I can do is be transparent.
Then the part B to that question is, how readily do the owners answer your questionnaire?
Oh, good question. Okay, when I first started this, I had some resistance, and because when I first started this, I left it up to the buyer to give the questions to the owner. And I found that really didn't work that well. So what I prefer to do is I prefer to give the questions to the owner. Now, sometimes you're going to run into a broker that wants nobody to have communication with the buyer. And in that case, I'll give it to the broker. But in each case, I'll explain to them the value of doing this. This enables them to put their boat in its best light forward, right? it's going to get reviewed with or without the answers. So if you don't answer the questions, chances are it's not going to be a good review. And look, the owners understand this. The questions are really not onerous, and it gives them the ability to rate their boat.
Yeah. Awesome. Thanks very much, Bill.
Okay. Anybody, Tila, or anybody else have their hand up? Okay, just 1 second, bear with me. Okay, I'm gonna stop the share. Okay, now I can see everybody. Well, if you have your video on, I can see you. Let's just open it up to question rather than raising your hand. If you have a question, unmute your microphone and shout out.
Bill,
Yes.
a few questions
Okay.
regarding primarily 54s, but also possibly SMs. Firstly, how have you seen the prices fluctuate over the last year as a result of COVID? What's happened to the availability of used 54s? And how much do you see them typically sell for? Thank you.
Okay, I can answer, I think, all of your questions except one. All right, so in the last year and since COVID, I've seen the prices of Super Maramoos, 54s, 55s, and maybe some older and newer models, but certainly those three, I've seen them go up. They've gone up because there have been a lot of sales in the last year and a half. So with demand, in any product, with demand, the prices go up. They've gone up in the neighborhood of 5 to 10%. So it's costing a little bit more. The one thing that I try not to do is to say that any 54 should sell for X dollars, because it's just not true. I mean, I have seen 54s bought that required $250,000 of a refit. Okay. I've seen 54s bought that required zero refit. So how can I put a price when the boat hasn't been looked at closely in terms of what's needed? I don't know if I answered all your questions, Paul. Do you have a follow-up there?
I kind of guess what I'm getting at is if you look at the 50th centile of what a boat is looking like, something that's in reasonable condition and may need, 30, 40,000 spent on it. What do you typically see those sell for?
Well, that's going to depend on the year, because the 54 was produced for a number of years, and the last 54s produced have some advantages over earlier 54s in terms of the way Amel equipped them. So I don't know that I have enough information. However, I could probably privately, you and I get together, I can probably help you drill down. If you give me a couple of the examples that you're looking at, I can help you there. And one of the things that I do offer that I didn't mention, and I should have, is I offer 1 hour of free consulting. So why don't you and I get together and I can help you at least come up with some ranges. Email me, call me later, whatever. Does that sound good? Is that okay, Paul?
Thank you. Yes, great.
Okay, great. Anybody else have some questions? Speak up, unmute your mic and speak up. Okay, I'm going to say last call for any questions.
Yeah, I've got another one.
Okay.
Your kind of weeks training or weeks preview of the boat with an owner where you are just there in spirit. Do you have many people offering that, or is it pretty hard to set that up?
Well, I currently have 3 owners, including 55, 54, and Super Maramoo that are willing to do it. The owner in Europe is not quite ready because of COVID. The owner in Super Maramoo and the 55 is in the U.S. and the Super Maramoo is in the Caribbean. They could. Well, the Super Maramoo had somebody on board 2 weeks ago, so it's working now. He's based in St. Thomas, and it's real easy for a real easy location for people in the United States.
So, but the 54 is not available right
54, now. 50. I have a 54 in also in French Polynesia, and I talked to him. A week ago, and he said yes, he would consider it, and French Polynesia was opening up. He's had 1 orientation cruise, and the guy that was on that orientation cruise bought 54. The orientation cruise at that time, that 54 was in the Caribbean, right? And he bought a 54 in Europe. So we're going all over the world here.
Thank you.
So yeah, the one in French Polynesia would be the one I'd recommend. Of course, the plane ticket going there is going to be, a little on the steep side, maybe.
The plane ticket is nothing compared to making a mistake.
Yeah. Yes.
Bill.
Yes.
I'm quite interested in offering an orientation cruise. My boat's Amelia's in Greece, in Laros.
Okay.
I'm going out on Tuesday. I'm very excited, having hauled the boat out in September last year. Great. And with COVID and all that. So, I'm up for that orientation cruise to offer it to people who might be interested.
Okay, send me an email. Do you have my email address? Okay, send me an email. I'll put you on the list, and I'll send you some information. I'll send you a package of information. I think it's great. Actually, I think it's great for owners. Judy and I really enjoyed it. These people were strangers, but they were nice people, and they were interested in Amel, and it helps everybody. Sooner or later, you're going to want to sell your Amel. Everybody that owns one, sooner or later, right? So
maybe later.
I wish mine had been later, but there was other reasons we had to sell earlier than we wanted. We owned it for 11 years, and it was wonderful. It was the best thing we ever did, and it was the worst day of my life that we sold it. Judy too.
Presumably that you offer them one of the cabins in the forward cabins on a 54.
Yeah, on do you have Nicholas? Yeah, Nicholas. Yes. Normally, whether it's a 54 Super Maramoo or a 55, it's going to be a 4 cabin. So you give them a 4 cabin and head. They have their privacy, and they pay for their food and transportation, all that kind of stuff. You just provide a place for them to sleep.
And do a mini cruise, do a small cruise, sail around a little bit, and that's the idea.
Yeah, right? do some sailing. Yeah, it's like a mini cruise, and I think you'll enjoy it. Being a host, I really think you would, and that they certainly enjoy it.
I'm sure I would. I'm sure I would.
Yeah, so send me an email. We need a 50, Matt. I know you're listening. We need a 50. I don't have a 50.
I'd have to ask the Admiral.
Yeah, well, I know, but tell the Admiral, tell her it's Bill. Okay.
I'm sure that'll help.
All right. All right. Two last things, and I'm going to let everybody go. I'm still working on a video tour. Hello, Tilo. I'm still working on a video tour of an Amel 60. I'm hoping to hear something in the next 2 or 3 weeks. And I'm also working on one of the best riggers in the world. It happens to be in Martinique, doing a complete standing rigging presentation. I think that'll be good for everybody. He'll show us what he looks for. He'll show us how an Amel is rigged. So that ought to be good. So those are the 2 upcoming things. And I'll ask one last time, if there's a question, unmute and say, hey, Bill.
Yeah, I've got a suggestion. Have you thought about doing a repower talk? And in particular, you seem to be really keen on the Beta Marine, and there's very little information out on that. And that I think some people might be interested in getting away from the whole electronic common rail technology.
Yeah. And of course, that, Paul, is the reason that I recommend Beta, because it is a departure. It's like one of the last non-electronic, non-computer diesel engines. Diesel engines have been forced into becoming highly computerized because of the European EPA and the US EPA and so forth. So that's the reason I recommend Beta. And besides that, the actual diesel engine on a Beta is a Kabuto engine, which is the same brand of engine that's in the Onan. So I do have some additional information if you're interested in that in my book supplements, and so shoot me an email and I'll send that to you. But I'll also ask those guys if they'll do a repower presentation and see what we can do. The attendance to these meetings is not required at all, and so you can pick and choose which ones you want to attend. Okay, last chance. All right.
Yeah,
Thank you. Oh, got some. Pietro, you're saying goodbye, or are you raising your hand?
I got a question.
Okay. All right.
Adios,
everybody. Have
repower.
a wonderful evening. Sorry you stayed up late with me, but
Thanks a lot, Bill.
Very good.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Bill. Thank you very much.
Okay. We'll see you next time.